The biggest betrayal the Tory government inflicted on this country has not yet exploded. That is the Boris wave. That is the millions of largely low-skilled, unskilled, non-EU migrants that were allowed to come to this country with more dependents than ever before, who will, in the coming years, be eligible to apply for indefinite, for ILR, indefinite leave to remain. So how do we solve this problem? Firstly, we abolish ILR altogether. We will replace it with a 5-year renewable work visa, just like a lot of other countries do, America, the UAE, many comparators out there. The qualifying salary for this work visa will be materially higher than it is today. The specific number will be determined by our net fiscal modelling close to a general election, because that's the sensible and responsible thing to do, but it will be materially higher than it is today. Number 2, you cannot have criminal convictions. Number 3, as Nigel says, when he's Prime Minister, we will ensure we legislate so that foreign nationals are ineligible to claim welfare. That 1 in 6 number Nigel mentioned is a catastrophe. It's cost us £9 billion last year alone. And again, I want to emphasise, that's before the impact of the Boris wave has actually been felt. So we have to make these changes. It's the only way we can prevent the UK, frankly, going bankrupt many times over as a result of these issues.
You were at this speech and press conference. What was it for?
I was at it. I've actually come armed, Sheila, with the policy document that I was handed as I was there as well, which says prioritising UK citizens. And as you say, this is extremely eye-catching as a policy headline. It's basically...
Have a little look.
You can have a look, absolutely.
Your booklet, thank you. Is that Buckingham Palace? It is. I just thought, is that the Mall? Yeah, that's the Mall.
that is the Mall.
Nice picture.
Well, it is incredibly eye-catching. So basically, Nigel Farage saying he wants to abolish indefinite leave to remain, for which migrants can currently apply after 5 years, and force them to renew their visa every 5 years. And basically, it means that if you were a migrant, you wanted to come over and apply for indefinite leave to remain, that would be gone. Instead, you could apply for a visa that would renew every 5 years. And to get that visa, it would be subject to a much stricter criteria. You would have to have a much higher salary than you have to have at the moment. You would have had to not accessed welfare benefits or other public funds before. That actually doesn't include the NHS, though. There'd be stricter rules around character. There'd be a character test. You would have to, they would check your criminal record too. You'd have to have a higher standard of English than you currently have. And here as well is, I think, part of the reason, at least, why they're doing it. This visa offers no recourse to welfare of any kind. So what they were saying is this is going to save a huge amount of money. Zia Youssef reforms Zia Youssef, suggesting there'll be massive welfare cuts as a result of this. And they say they are trying to reverse what they are calling, and it says on that front page of that booklet there, Sheila, reverse the Boris wave. And that's about the 3.8 million people who entered the UK after Brexit under looser rules brought in by Boris Johnson's administration. So they say that these changes that they are proposing would save the taxpayer over £230 billion, £234 billion. Now, that figure has already been disputed, so it's based on figures from the Centre for Policy Studies, their think tank, and they are now saying this morning the figures are problematic, should not be used. So it'd be £234 billion, they say, over the next few decades. But they were asked during the press conference whether they would withdraw that figure. Nigel Farage said the exact figure was not known due to gaps in publicly available data, but argued the £234 billion figure is without a doubt too low.
And probably the kind of story that makes reform voters twitch, says Thiago. Let me read. Thiago is a fairly regular caller to the programme as well, so let's read what he's texted us. I'm probably the kind of story that makes reform voters twitch. I first came here on a tourist visa, fully intending to overstay, Thiago, and to work. I got caught, I got jailed, I got deported, and yes, I tried again. Eventually I did it properly. I secured EU citizenship through my bloodline and lived here legally under freedom of movement. until Brexit closed that door, but I was granted full settled status. Since becoming that, I've worked and paid taxes in the UK for over 18 years. Even while undocumented, I've got payslips to prove it. And in recent better years, I even reached the higher tax bracket. Only now, after my line of work in the film and TV industry was shaken by strikes and cutbacks in 2023, have I needed benefits to get back on my feet. And I do see those benefits as my right. I've contributed to the pot for years while taking very little out, so I believe I've earned some support during a rough patch. If we keep moving the goalposts, forcing visa holders to reapply again and again, where does it end? Would EU citizens with full settled status have to prove themselves forever? This country has always relied on migrant labour, legal and otherwise, yet too often we're treated as the problem rather than part of the solution. Our taxes aren't invested properly in infrastructure and we are blamed for the strain. We apply our talent and passion, yet we're always vilified. Meanwhile, I know plenty of British-born people who've contributed less to the economy or their communities than many immigrants who arrived with everything to prove and often more gusto. And if the answer is to make us reapply endlessly, fine. I'll just sit the pub quiz they call the Life in the UK test, get the British passport I'm already entitled to, and then I'll be your problem till the day I die, says Thiago in Bristol. Kosta in Chester. Hello, Kosta in Chester.
Hello there, good afternoon. That was actually an amazing message. And I wanted to ask the same thing. I'm Romanian. My wife is Romanian. Mm-hmm. We both have indefinite leave to remain. We have a mortgage. We have a child on the way. We both work. We pay our taxes. Will we be in the same bracket? Will we are Europeans? Will we have to reapply every 5 years?
What's your current status?
I'm employed. I work as an engineer. My wife works for the NHS, and indefinite leave to remain. If that was what you meant.
Right. So that's what you've got. And as
Yes.
things stand, I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. As things stand, do you have to reapply for that?
No.
No, because it's indefinite. Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you pay your taxes here. Are you seeking citizenship at any point or not?
I have been doing some mock tests, to be honest. The answer is yes.
Okay. Because that's the solution for you, I guess, isn't it?
I would assume so if we are, but your colleague, your colleague Aggie said something along the lines, and I'm not too sure if I misunderstood, that Europeans who already have indefinite leave to remain wouldn't have to apply.
EU members, yeah. So are you an EU member? Yeah, if you're Romanian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think you're okay.
I had to phone in. I'm sorry. This story has been in the back of my head since this morning. It actually ruined my day.
Well, I think it says here the changes would not apply to EU nationals whose settled status is protected under the European Union withdrawal agreement. Well, I think that involves you, doesn't it?
I would assume so, yes.
And that group makes up the majority of benefit claimants by people with indefinite leave to remain. But EU nationals not benefiting from the provisions of the withdrawal agreement will be subject to the new system. But I'm pretty sure with Romania, you would fall in that category that doesn't get affected.
With all due respect, I don't know a lot of Eastern Europeans. I know a few. But I don't know any claiming benefits. It's maybe the circles
It might be.
But yeah.
You said it ruined your day. I mean, I hope I've reassured you there, but
you have indeed.
But am I right to think that the conversation generally around migrant workers is difficult for people in your position, however established you are?
Well, yes, it is, because it makes you feel. Well, it makes me feel unwanted. I can't speak for everyone, as you can imagine, but it makes me feel unwanted. But although I try every single day, there's always something popping up. There's always something.
And
now,
what brought you over here in the first place, Kosta? I'm just curious now. I'm not making a judgment about it.
No,
just being nosy.
Understandable. About 13 years ago, I came here on holiday, and because I had the money and the time, and I was allowed to, a week turned into about 5 weeks.
Because you had freedom of movement at the time, did you?
There was freedom of movement, but I couldn't stay. I believe it was 90 days back then. I can't even remember. But nonetheless, I came on holiday, and I came to visit some of my friends who were already here, and they had to start. Well, they started work, stayed with me for a couple of days, for a few days, showed me around and whatnot, and then they had to start work. So I found myself alone in their house. So what I did, I just went outside, had a walk, and I discovered the pub culture. I discovered people being friendly with you, and I loved it. Honestly, I absolutely loved it. Went back. I would look for a contract, found a contract. The rest is history. But I just loved everything about England, about Britain. I like the British people, the British way of life, and so on and so forth.
And
that's just me.
Apart from the politics around it all, and the kind of conversations I'm sure you hear on this programme and programmes like it all the time, in your day-to-day life, Kosta, does it just feel normal to you?
I'm sorry, what does it feel?
As in the kind of anxiety that maybe programmes like this have induced in you by talking about these issues. In real life, your connections with people in your community, in your life, in your workplace, in the local pub, your neighbours, is that all good?
Yes.
You see, that's very telling, isn't it?
Yes, everything's absolutely brilliant. Because in my line of work, I work with customers. I go into people's homes for my work, and so on and so forth. Obviously, every now and again, people will ask me where I'm from and stuff like that, and will have some sort of coldness afterwards, which I think I grew to kind of push it aside. But in general, honestly, this anxiety doesn't exist in my day-to-day life.
Yeah, which is telling, isn't it? That in our communities, I mean, again, there will be antipathy between people, there will be problems between people, but in our communities, that's where the real story lives, isn't it?
Exactly.
Good and bad. Good and bad.
I will tell you one last thing, if I may. Britain has taught me that it doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah.
If you're a good person, you're a good person. If not, you're not. And that's it.
Yeah, that's certainly the beginning, isn't it, of a community, that distinction.